Joining us now is Philippe Espinasse. He is a former investment banker and author of IPO, A Global Guide. Philippe, thank you very much indeed for coming in. 75% up, that's insane, isn't it?
It is quite a big number, but then it was...
Why?
Well, it wasn't a very big transaction. It was also multiple times covered, and it looks like, the quality of the book of the man was probably good as well. So, logical conclusion, it's trading up very sharply.
Very sharply, to, put it very lightly. But is it being priced badly?
No, I don't think necessarily was. There's a dearth of quality offerings in China. It's been pretty difficult over the last few months. So once you've got something that looks reasonably attractive, then I think investors are piling in.
Okay, Haitong, biggest one so far, third biggest brokerage in China, listing here, just falling below the gain line for the time being, but it did move up on the right at the start. What sort of company is this, and how well do you think it's being received?
Well, it's a different story. Obviously, Haitong is a relaunch. The deal tried to be to market last December was pulled and came back with a bit of a belts and braces approach. I mean, you had a bit of a bigger syndicate, obviously a very large cornerstone investor tranche, $580 million, as opposed to $220 million last time. And also a number of accounts that came into the book as anchor investors. So
and also priced it towards the bottom of the range as well, didn't they?
Yeah, but that tells you that there was, despite all that, there was a fair bit of price sensitivity on the part of investors for this transaction. And the fact that it's now starting to trade down, there must be quite a bit of stabilization activity going on the part of the lead banks. Probably will erode a little bit confidence on the part of other issues that wanted to come to market on the back of that deal.
Okay, what about the competition for from other companies here when it comes to Haitong?
Well, one of the main competitors, you could say, is Haitong Securities, which obviously came to market last October, traded more than 20% since the IPO, so it's been quite successful. I think one of the key challenges there for Haitong is, and if you look at the use of proceeds disclosed in their prospectus, is they want to do strategic acquisitions overseas. Now, CITIC has got a bit of a head start with that, obviously has a stake in CLSA in Hong Kong, and probably will buy the rest of the capital of CLSA that's owned by Crédit Agricole of France. So quite a bit of catching up to do for Haitong, which is much more dependent on the Chinese capital markets than its rival.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the IPO pipeline. As we've seen this rally in the first quarter, I mean, are we going to get more people coming to the market?
Well, I think there will be some technical factors. One is that December year-end accounts will expire by the end of June. So obviously issuers will be pushed to do something, otherwise they'll have to update their accounts. But there's still a very heavy pipeline, and it's a combination of transactions that were pulled last year and new issues that are trying to come to market. So you still have a number of financial institutions, both banks and insurance, that were set to tap the market in 2011. You also have a number of mining and resources stocks. And you have other companies like Graph Diamonds, which could be coming shortly as well.
What about those people who were considering at the latter part of last year coming to the market? I mean, of course, Haitong is one of them, and then they pulled it, or they went, oh, actually, we're not even going to bother trying to do it because the market looks far too choppy.
I think they'll be quite cautious. I think they will only relaunch their transactions if they're able effectively to have them covered on day one through a combination of cornerstone investors and anchor investors. And I think they probably will have to revisit pricing to make it a little bit sweeter to investors as well.
What about the status of Hong Kong? Singapore's wanting to, of course, also get into muscling on the IPO action. But the Hong Kong market still remains one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest in terms of market capitalization.
It is. Daily trading volumes have fallen by about 20% over the last few months. And
in spite of them increasing the hours that they're trading.
Yes, and it's also interesting that Southeast Asia certainly seems to be gathering momentum. It had a miserable first quarter, and now you're starting to see all these large liquid and prestigious transactions that are trying to come to market there. You've got Manchester United, Formula One. Elsewhere in Southeast Asia, you've got Felda Global Ventures, palm oil company, which is more than $3 billion US. Transaction size, so quite a bit of momentum there, and Hong Kong falling a little bit behind.
But they want to, and this is Ron Arcouli, of course, the outgoing chairman, the ex-chairman now, of course, he's left the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. That was his mantra, to get international companies to list on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. He's pretty successful at that. Is that what Hong Kong's going to be trying to do in the future as well?
I think they'll continue to do some of that. They've got about 20 new jurisdictions beyond the traditional 4 that are now able to list in Hong Kong. I think they will continue to authorize other jurisdictions to be accepted by the exchange. And I think they'll just have to continue doing that. Otherwise, they will lose ground to some of the other exchanges around the region.
Very quickly, is Ron Arcouli a tough act to follow?
I think clearly the new incumbent who comes from MTR Corporation, the Metro and Property Company, has got his work cut out.
Well, we shall see, won't we? Thank you very much indeed for
Thank
that.
you.
Philippe Espinasse, author of IPO 8 Global Guide.